It's hard when you're hard of hearing. You don't know if anybody else can hear me. It's hard to hear myself.
Turn the ambient up.
Okay. Thank you for coming. It is March 12th, meeting of the LEAC. And I'm your co-chair, Creation, along with Gary Small, the other co-chair here. And I'm gonna get started off. I thank everybody for coming. And going over the consent agenda from the last meeting. And
Anybody had a chance to look over the agenda for the last meeting?
we've left look like 11 of us were here, so we had a full meeting. Anybody have any additions or anything that's corrections from that meeting for today? Okay, if that's the case, I want to pass the agenda as it was, the consent agenda for last meeting. And do I have a second for that?
You have a second.
Any objections?
Any abstained?
This passed. And next up on our list is for updates to the charter for this year. And with that, you want to over that?
I'm going to go through this. Would you like me to go through?
Yeah, go ahead.
Please.
All right, now.
Well, gentlemen, I don't need two microphones.
We'll start this.
You already gave me a look like, yes, you do. Okay. So, so for the last several months, I know that when Victoria was here, you all and the leadership team had talked about some charter updates that, and then there was like a period of pull back a little bit, re-examine things and come back to it. And so met with Kat and Gary, and then Michael has also been in meetings too, which is the last one we weren't able to go through, but I was able to find all of Victoria's and Megan's notes and then bring them forward. And we were wanting to do a deeper dive into our charter to make sure that it matches what the CoC has under its governance charter and that it fits the mission of this committee. Okay? So we may not, I'm gonna look at the time. We're gonna definitely, somebody keep me on task here. So we have till 6 o'clock. So we have 20 minutes. 20 minutes, we may get through the whole thing. We may not. It may end in discussion and that's okay. We can always come back to it next month too until we get it right. So this is going to be, yeah, we'll just start from the very beginning. I will say that whenever, we'll go topic by topic or change by change. Okay? I'm gonna give a bit broad overview of some of the stuff. Or actually, I'm not. You all could have read, there is at the very beginning of the charter updates, you do have to get this close to your mouth. And then it does work.
Summary.
There's a summary. So hopefully you've had a chance to read that. If you have not, just look through that and maybe star some areas that you might want to revisit. It's called Summary of Proposed Charter Updates. It's attached to it's the front page of the charter. I passed around some paper and pencils, and so, you know, while whoever has the mic, of course, speaks, that will not be me the whole time. I'm just gonna talk about what the change is, and then you all will talk about it, okay? But
It's like not this, no, that's page one. That's this page one.
that's a PowerPoint from last meeting, so.
The consent agenda, we always go back and review the previous minutes, make sure that the record is accurate, reflects to the best of our knowledge what happened at our last meeting. And that's why we have the consent agenda. We look it over. If it looks accurate, then we vote to approve it. And on the charter update, we did a bunch of that with Victoria. I think everybody probably remembers, but it was never taken before the board or finalized. So this time, we're making present adjustments to the state of what's going on now. So when we take that to the board, we're not amending the amendment of the amendment of the amendment, you know, one time, boom. Oh, but that's why we're revisiting this again. We sat and talked with Victoria, and then when we had to change over in personnel, it never went before the board. But I never saw any of that go before the board.
Yeah, and
I would concur.
Right, and this was still in comment form, so I can't imagine that it was actually approved. We want to make sure it's approved by the committee before it goes through board too.
Yeah,
And so there were some additions that were made recently as well.
you know, basically, clarifying that the people voting has to have the, lived experience of homelessness. Once you get too many years beyond, the whole game, as it's called, out on the street has changed. That's why the most recent experience is favored. You know, because the whole methodology of what's going on the street changes. You know, after 5 years, it's a whole new ballgame. You know, whole new bunch of players, whole new bunch of resources. We need to try and keep the people that have the most recent experience possible. You know, or, you know, we're using outdated, resources. So, we're trying to update the clear membership access process for joining the committee. We want people that have, we're gonna have people come in for 2 meetings as a guest. See if they're a right fit for us. Are we a right fit for them? Are we gonna be able to coexist in the committee and be productive together, you know? We need to see how it fits. Sorry, I thought everybody could hear me. You know, we want to, make a clearer application process for that. And we want to, clarify officer roles and titles. Okay, that's pretty basic. We want we want to make the whole process clearer and easy for you to understand. I'm hoping this year to open up membership again, where we can get some fresh minds, some fresh ideas in here, re-stimulate this committee and get it jumping. You know?
Yeah, and there's no reason not to open membership as long as there's a process that you all agree to. It'll be, yeah. Okay. So on page 1, all that was changed was, it was just some formatting. So you'll notice on the right-hand side, there are comments, and that's where those changes are, and they're explaining them. Minor corrections, just the name of Pinellas Continuum of Care. A new section is adding the word welcoming on page. It's actually called page 1. If you look at the bottom left-hand side, it says page 1. Or it just says 1. So there's a change to add the word welcoming. Does anyone have a problem with adding welcoming to your values and to create a welcoming space? Okay, then we'll move forward. Then on the next page, page 2, again, it says that on the bottom left-hand side. So membership, attendance, and stipends. In that section, a few things here. In the past, it has said 5 to 20 members. Couple things, it's really good practice to have an odd number. so that if there is a vote and you don't want it to be 50-50 because there's no
You
tiebreaker.
want a tiebreaker.
You need to have a tiebreaker. So it's really good practice to have an odd number. The other thing we know is that stipends, because of the funding, we had to be mindful of the cost, right? And the amount that'll be available for the number of members. And so it was recommended to remove the 20 members and make it 13 voting members as the top number.
Yeah,
Any discussion on that or
I
opinion?
think it's a good idea to make the committee smaller. We don't need it to be bigger, just more efficient, more focused.
I would agree with that.
Good deal. Next was the other change on that same paragraph. Membership preference, and it says preference, will be given to individuals currently experiencing homelessness or who have experienced homelessness within the last 5 years. Everyone who's in this meeting right now qualifies under that, by the way. I just want to, we went back and we looked at the roles, that's true. Members will consist, the next sentence, members will consist of those with lived experiences of homelessness. And then you see it struck out, or those closely associated with the unhoused community. It was discussed, the reason for that, by members, this does not come from the HLA, but it's called the Lived Experience Committee. And so if everyone who's part of the CoC has a close relationship to the unhoused community, do you want this to be for people who've actually experienced being unhoused or anyone who knows someone? So that was the question. And so that's why that struck out. But it would need your approval.
Good.
The next piece on the next paragraph, we struck out scholarships for CoC membership may be available for those who experienced homelessness more than 7 years ago. That is because we don't really have a scholarship process for CoC. So people with lived experience within the last 7 years do not pay membership dues to be on the CoC. And so we don't have a need for scholarships. There's already a fee structure set up. So we just struck that out. And then you'll see 2 bullet points. Actually, you'll see 3 bullet points are struck out because if all that stuff we talked about leading up to now was changed, we wouldn't need those few bullet points. They're just extra or they don't apply anymore. And then the rest was remained, except for where it says, okay. Oh, it's still good. The next area, membership application process. To become a LEAC member, LEAC member, individuals must attend at least 2 LEAC meetings, submit a CoC membership application or renewal application, and then submit an LEAC membership application or renewal application. And we do have those LEAC membership applications too. And then the thing that changed here, we took out, or it was taken out, in the absence of an LEAC secretary, co-chairs would provide initial approval for all LEAC membership applications. And the reason being is that later on it talks about at least 2 officers need to approve those applications before they move forward. You don't want it to be just one person. So we're going to have 2. And it doesn't matter which role, 2 officers that you all elected. Any issues? Attendance. The only thing we took out is everything remains the same. Absences will be excused for up to 25% of annual meetings. So we have 12 meetings a year. That means that
9.
you make it to 9. And that will be one of the questions that you would ask somebody who wants to be a member. Can you commit to 9 meetings a year?
be asking them directly, can you commit to 9 out of 12? You have to at least attend 9. You know, I mean, things happen, but that's what phones are for. You know, I can't make it, I got an auto wreck, you know, something tangible.
And the thing that was, the sentence that was taken out was LEAC follows attendance requirements as set in the CoC charter as of November 2023. The charter can change at any time. We would not want to have to come back and change this every single time there's a governance CoC charter change. So we just took that out. It's just extra language. Okay, stipends, at the very bottom of that page, we just added some information about stipends. So approved voting league members, this already existed, who are lived experience members of the CoC, receive stipends after each regularly scheduled committee meeting, for which they are in attendance. And that is, nothing's changed there. Nothing's changed here. To be eligible for this membership, lived experience CoC members must have experienced homelessness within the last 7 years and live, work, or attend school in Pinellas County. Meaning someone who had previous lived experience living in Pasco can't come down and join the community. Oh, there is the change. Stipends are offered in the form of gift cards. We took everything else out after that, so no more gas cards.
Right.
All that was taken. That was the change.
I asked why that was taken out. I'm just curious.
The issue was that, so the membership dues are what pay for the stipends. And-
Did that before.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
We had, so projecting and making sure that the CoC really needed to approve how stipends are tracked, who gets that, what, how much is spent on that, with how those dues are used. And so it was decided that it was $25 stipends through the gift cards. No need to have the gas cards then, or just remove them. And then we also, it's not just for the LEAC meetings, it's also for other, if people with lived experience, whether they're on the LEAC or not, they have lived experience within the last 7 years and they are a voting member, seated member of another committee. They also get stipends for that too, for their time. So when you add all that together, it starts, the more and more committees we have, the more and more work groups we have, then it's, yeah. We want to make sure that we could sustain it throughout the year.
Keeping a smaller committee. Keeping a smaller committee will also ensure that keeps the cost down. So it will protect their stipends for meetings to come.
Yeah, and
Lower the overhead a little.
yeah, and there's there are a lot of funds that are received, like you can't spend money on food. But these dues, we can't, we just don't. We find other ways to afford, to pay for that. But it just, they're called unrestricted funds. You can use them for anything, right? It's the funder doesn't get to tell you, no, you can't use it for that. So it keeps it open to make sure that we can support whatever the CoC is needing to move forward.
I don't, yeah. Have you thought about, like, for those that come to the meeting that have been here? Has anybody ever thought of being like something out for us to make donations, no matter how small it might be or big? And, cause you never know. I mean, some people make it and just let it add up and see what we come up with. I was thinking about that.
Okay, so right now online, there's a way to make donations. And it's through on the Pinellas CoC page or on the PinellasHomeless.org page, the HLA page.
Okay.
It says donate. And if you press that donate button on either website, it'll ask you, where do you want the funds to go?
Okay, I just, my bank card project, so, and that just made my online purchase that was secure. So, and I don't even know the company, some company that I've never even heard of, and actually got my, into my account. So I think that I've been with Chase for 25 years because they immediately put my money back in, but I had to get a new card. And, so it seems like every year they're getting more crafty on being able, how to access things online. And now I'm kind of like, oh, and like, I'm online or not, you know, I got that in my head.
There's a way to also like writing checks, so,
Yeah,
but, so we can talk more about that.
okay, that'd be great.
Roles and responsibilities. So this is something you all will want to discuss. Later on, it talks about, so for this committee, there are co-chairs. Most, in our CoC governance charter, it talks about having a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary for the committees.
Yeah.
So, that is what is recommended by that is what is in the governance charter, which is like the Constitution over all the other laws, right? It's the one, the big one. And so that's a discussion I think that Gary, all of you should be having right now, and moving to a co versus, and keeping co-chairs for now, and like when we may change over to a chair and vice chair. Make that a process. What do you think?
Other than just the title, I don't see where there'd be any difference between the two. If we're gonna align everything for the CoC charter, I say let's go ahead and align it up, because once we get our backyard cleaned up, we can, I wanna start for us, I'd like for us to start being able to make a difference in the community. You know, they come to us for advice, but still, you know, we have all the information. We know where the service is. We have the access to the, you know, for getting into housing sections. We should be sharing that information. It's just my opinion. We should be sharing that with the community, you know? Gives us an opportunity to be leaders in the homeless community, you know? Helping people find the services, because we both know a lot of times they won't look for it. They don't know where to find this stuff. I don't know why, but they don't. So that's something that I'm hoping eventually more of us can get into help with people. Hey, yeah, I know where this is. You know, let me check that. And they can use their connection through the CoC for the information, if the information service, however, to provide that for people. Help them find the services they need. So, yeah.
So again, having a vice chair versus a co-chair model. The co-chair, if one chair is gone, the other chair, co-chair is the chair, right?
Yeah.
If a chair is gone, the vice chair is the chair. If that person's gone, then the secretary becomes the chair
Yeah.
for that meeting. So it doesn't,
Same process,
it's the same, it turns out to be.
same exact process, different names. Same exact.
Does anyone have an issue with that?
I don't-
Norman?
Oh,
You got the floor, Norm. There you go.
on the membership application, that's what we're talking about, right? I think the application itself should be a little bit revised for more specific questions. You know, on the people, because we begin getting answers like very generalities, you know. Another thing I might suggest is, how about an interview? A person is with whether it's staff or officers.
That's perfect because that's actually.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful, you know, because, you know, we have experienced problems, right? We have to stop in things for a while, you know, and that, of course, we weren't sure,
Yeah.
right, about things. So I would like to suggest that
Now that we're
in
getting,
our application process.
now that we're getting older as a committee, you know, start get things fine tuned.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So that's great. Let's see if there's any major things that are left here. Was an update. basically, meetings are to be so if you look at page 5 at the top, it has the different, it has chair and vice chair, and what that would look, how that would read for their responsibilities instead of having co-chair. Meeting cancellation,
What about the terms?
the terms, where's,
LEAC officers, they're 3-year terms,
there we go.
going January, December 31st. That's COC charter or the LEAC charter?
LEAC.
Okay.
And maybe re-elected for additional terms, but there's not a term limit, like a number of terms that you have,
Yeah.
it's just that you have to be
Well, no, just time between,
re-elections
Yeah.
or elections.
and we were talking with Victoria, she was talking about staggering it. So that way, when one is elected, the other one is still, you know what I mean? So that way, there's always an experienced leader in the seat. But as I said, we never finished the process. We never completed that, never went to the board. What does everybody think about that? Staggering the chair elections, so that way both of them aren't being elected at the same time. 1 year, one will be elected, the next year the other will be, stagger it. I mean, that's how we talked about it with Victoria.
So that's a good thing, and I'll honestly, so if you have a 3-year term and you have 3 officers, then each year a different officer will be elected. The thing is if you have somebody leave before the end of their 3-year term, you're gonna end up in the same boat where because you'll end up, so I would say strive for that.
All right, let's keep it simple, let's go to the default. Chair, vice chair, secretary.
Oh, but still striving for having like the staggered terms.
Won't need it as much, we're not sharing the main seat, then we can break that up. That could be broke up, because you're not both gonna be elected into the chair at the same time. Be a vice chair, chair, or secretary. If I'm understanding it wrong, please somebody step in.
With what you were saying earlier, I'm taking what you said earlier and about having it staggered so that, but also just saying, I would recommend using the word strive for that
Yeah.
because you're gonna have situations where people may not stay.
The staggering basically goes for co-chairs, not a chair, vice chair. That's for two captains on a boat. Type of thing. That way both captains are being elected at the same time. You always have one experience while the other one's transitioning, so forth. But that will all trump that, forgive the term, if we go to chair, vice chair, secretary, that trumps that. Anybody got any feedback, please? Any thoughts at all?
Okay, so what do you do? Now something for me, stagnant. Okay, so make a vote, is that what you're talking about?
So basically, well, here is now, I think he sounds like you're withdrawing that request, but initially what was being discussed was striving, like, at least trying to stagger the chair and the vice chair or co-chairs, either way, so that you have you don't have a whole new leadership team every year.
Right, exactly. Well, that might be a very good idea, really.
Yeah, when that was brought up, it was brought up where with co-chairs, the problem is both of their terms expiring at the same time. And we've already had a double election one time at one of our meetings, where both Mike and I both had to be reelected. The staggering was to eliminate that. Yes, ma'am.
I'm happy again, as far as reelection goes, I'm just saying, as to what it already is. We have in place, like you and Mike and on where Cat is, but I would say Cat too. I would see that right now. You know, since, I don't see any other developments happening just yet. I'm trying, so is he, trying to get people that you meet and stuff to come. But then they chicken out, you know, and, I don't know if they're just in their addiction or what, a lot of them are, so, yeah.
One thing to keep in mind is that even if you have a chair and vice chair situation, it really is very similar to co-chairs. And ultimately, if you have a chair and vice chair voted in, what if they're both empty?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you don't have anyone going up, so it helps to have at least some
So,
hope for commitment. We've had commitment, we've maintained officers the whole time. We would hope to continue that, but yeah, the committee, it would work itself out, I'm sure. I am sure, yeah.
yeah,
And unfortunately, there's not a limit of terms. Huh? It gets worse. And there's not a limit of terms that one can go for. It's just how often you have to go up to be reapproved by the body.
yeah.
To keep going. I'm going to cut it short. We're on page 5, and I'd say that we come back and start there next month.
All right.
Or, I'm sorry, let's start on, yeah, we start at meetings. Okay, thank you. So we can, in the interest of time. But good conversation, and it's always a good idea to go through the charter and just be reminded of what's in there so that when we're having meetings, everybody's on the same page.
Okay, now we got some of that taken care of. The charter. Yeah, maybe voting on, so I will wait till we actually get the actual final one in, next month.
We'll need to finish it up next month, and then I think a vote can happen.
Oh, so, oh, the next thing, let's see if the renewal applications, yeah. Do we have new applications? Yes, we do. And
If people can go online, or they can fill it out, just.
there it is, okay.
Okay, on memberships going on, what if you don't want to, I don't want to really, I don't for various reasons, from the safety for one. And,
Okay.
I have to keep that in my background because of things that happened in my past. So,
Absolutely. So
yeah.
if you'll notice, there's a page in your packet. It's a membership application.
Oh,
It is a printout of what's online. If you will fill out the information.
is that a renewal? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Pinellas CoC membership renewal. This is for the actual CoC membership.
Okay.
Just write down the information next to anything that has a star.
And, yeah, nobody has my email.
Anytime,
I'm gonna give it
you
to
need
you.
help with it,
Well,
call me, I'll
see,
meet you
on
at the
this
library,
phone-
I'll sit down right
Okay,
with
so
you.
on
do it.
tax phone, you cannot put it in PDF files, but on this phone,
And
it's pretty simple. He
Yeah.
gets the message from you, whoever's sending it, and then, on mine, it'll pretty much do anything.
Yeah, if you'd rather do a paper copy, I would just do this paper copy and give it back, hand it back to me at the end of the meeting, and make sure where it says conflict of interest, we talked about this last month. Every year, every CoC member has to agree to the conflict of interest policy. We reviewed it last month, which basically said, if your sister, brother, or you work for a company that is seeking funding from the CoC, basically have to, or, you have a conflict because on something that we voted on, you have to remove yourself from the discussion and you cannot vote on it. That's the long and short of
You
it.
know, like if Sherry had her own lawn service, we can't vote on what the lawn service, given that contract to Sherry to mow the lawn outside.
I beg to differ. I would be the best lawn servant. I'm out of my dresses, okay?
Okay,
But
okay,
that's to make it easy.
okay. On these, on us, not the COC, you still want us to fill this out, even though I'm not on the COC, right?
You have, so in order to be a member of this committee, you have to be a member of the CoC.
Okay, that's fine,
Yeah.
that's no problem.
So go ahead and fill that out and then sign where it says agreement. I agree to the CoC conflict of interest policy.
Okay.
Like check that and sign. That's about the best way to do it. So, and before the end of the meeting, just make sure to hand it back to me.
That's it, just this,
That's it.
okay?
Because it's a renewal.
Before I leave.
We already have all your information.
Yeah.
I know. It's a renewal to make sure it's on
Reminded me, in 2003, when I moved into that apartment I'm living in now, I was actually homeless. I moved into a trailer, this was one that had no bedroom for me. So guess where I was on the carport I was on the car and my footprint, and I had to do a background check, and I was not a happy camper. And that's how I met Jack about 3 months later. And everybody would worry about my neighbors next door because I'm out there on the porch because I'm not gonna sleep in the living room with the guy that's there or anybody else in the house. Now, there was a girl that had the bedroom. Her name was Peggy. She was super nice, but at the time she got up, that's when COVID hit, or no, not COVID, it was something else. She lost her job and she went up, she moved. So I ended up having her bedroom, but I only stayed there for 1 month because it was just really crazy. I mean, if you can imagine the girl that sleeps outside on the table, and I mean, that is no joke. I had a clothes rack I put out there to kind of hide me because I didn't know how that part was. And then he was riding this bicycle. That's how I met Jack before I moved out of there. So I moved in there not to be homeless, but I was homeless. That is no lie. I really was. And it was not a good feeling. And nobody liked the guy that had that trailer. Still don't to this day. Yeah, that's something else. That's like a weird story, but it's true. Yeah.
I'm gonna pass it on to our coordinated entry. I want to, really quickly, I do want to share, this is news from the HLA. You all met Megan last month, and she talked about the coordinated entry process and housing and what that looks like.
Thank you.
I've already set it up.
Her colleague is Benita. Benita,
They're both.
Benita or Nita? You pick and choose. So we have Benita and Megan, and they both have stepped up. So before, we're gonna talk about coordinated entry and get input and feedback, because that's one of the needs we have of this group for sure. But I just want to share that they're going to be carrying the role of, how about Victoria, the staff support. Okay, not the people taking the minutes. We will still, Alicia, she's just out tonight, but she'll be back and doing the minutes, but they will be helping with like agendas and any support that the group needs. I will still be coming as well. But I just wanted to make sure that you do. We had 2 people fighting to do this after months and months of me like, who should be, and like, okay, this is great. So, thank you, and I'm gonna pass it on for input.
All right. Hello again to everyone. Thank you so much for having us back. I know we talked a little bit about coordinated entry last time, and in the packet for this week, There is a copy of the PowerPoint that we kind of went off of, even though I didn't show it. Just a reminder for everybody, on the very last page is going to be, my email, it's gonna be Suzanne's email, it's gonna be Nita's email. It's very small, so if whenever you go back to that last page, if that is like way too small for you, I completely understand. If you wanna bring it to me whenever we're finished here, I have no problem writing all of our, email addresses a little bit larger for you. But they are all on there, so then we're gonna kind of transition into this next part about what I kind of wanted your feedback on. So if you will all turn your attention to the two colored flyers that are in the agenda packet. One says coordinated entry at the top, and then one says, have you been sleeping in a car, tent, or outdoors on top? And these two are kind of what, Suzanne and I have kind of looked over and started to try to get some information out into the community. So what I'm really hoping for is input from all of you all. We kind of discussed a little bit last week about the access points. And the access points are going to be listed on the flyer that has the, have you been sleeping in a car, tent, or outdoors? So this one is going to be a list of all of those access points. So where can people go or contact in order to kind of get into that door that we were talking about last month, in order to start getting services and get assessed and all of that to be able to get onto that prioritization list. So with that one, it is rather basic, and we do not have all of the addresses and the phone numbers listed on this copy, just because we're waiting for some people to give us what their preferred address and phone number is, so that we can make sure the contact information is really current and really accurate. So I do know that those are definitely things that we are still working on. But other than that, I would love your feedback on the rest of it. Is it easy enough to read? Is it easy enough to follow? This one is a little bit more straightforward. However, if you have some sort of feedback, I am more than happy to accept it and to look over it and take it into consideration. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot right now, so I don't expect you to just like glance at it and, you know, have all the answers in the world. But if you do look at it, and if you do see something right off the bat, please, by all means, let me know. Otherwise, if you look over it, you know, maybe a little bit more tonight or next week or before our next meeting, you're always able to let me know next week if you have, or next month if you have some feedback. Or also you're able to use that email address that is on the back of that PowerPoint that I talked about at first. And you're more than welcome to email me feedback as well, because we want to make sure.
I noticed here on the street outreach, that brigade, is that from Metropolitan Ministries? Because
Yes,
they're people you can reach out to them.
yes, exactly.
They're part of Metropolitan.
Yes,
Okay.
yep, that's exactly it. Maybe we should even add that wording on there so that people are really like clear that those are both of the
Yeah.
same things. Cause that's a great point that you bring out. Because a lot of people do talk about it as a brigade.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. That's a very good
Yeah.
point. Does anyone else see anything right off the bat that you can see that is just glaringly bothering you about the one that says the have you been sleeping at the top of it? Okay, perfect. Like I said, if you come across anything in the following weeks, weeks, just let me know, and I'm more than happy to have a discussion about it. And remember, this one is the one with all of the access points, so this is like that first step flyer. This second flyer that says coordinated entry at the top, we call them one pagers. So if I say one pager, that's kind of interchangeable for flyer. So the one pager that has coordinated entry at the top of it, that actually kind of walks through the steps that we talked about last month. So it takes that PowerPoint that we went over and it condenses it all onto one page. that we're hoping is going to provide a clear overview for people out in the community to understand kind of like a bird's eye view of what coordinated entry does. This one, as we learned last month, coordinated entry is confusing. So this is definitely one of those ones that if you have feedback on an area where you feel like it's confusing and you want to let me know and you kind of want to talk about it, either to get more information or more education, or to have us think about changing some things on the one pager in order to make it a little bit more clear for the community, please let me know. I am extremely open to suggestions. The whole goal of this is to make it as clear as possible. So do not feel like you cannot come to me with suggestions. I love them, okay? But real quick, I'm just kind of gonna go over a real quick briefing of it. It's gonna talk about a lot of the power words that we talked about last month. So the first step is gonna be that access, and then if you follow those little green dots, it's gonna take you down to the assessment. And then it's gonna take you to prioritization, which again, is that list that we talked about that, after the assessment, it scores you and then puts you on one of those prioritization lists. And then it goes to the referral, which is what actually gets you into the actual program that a person is actually matched for. And then it talks about the housing interventions. So it kind of goes down on the left-hand side, and then it goes back up on the right-hand side, and then it goes back down to explain it. If whenever you look at it, if you feel like that is hard to follow, please let me know. It is a lot of information for one piece of paper, and again, we just want to make that as clear as possible. We do have the little QR code that you can scan down at the bottom for a little bit more information for people. We do realize though that not everybody has access to a phone at all times. And so we are really trying to make it as clear as possible on the flyer, and then have the little scanner take you to like just some more in-depth information. Does anyone have any questions about anything that we discussed last week and or either one of these two one-pagers?
Well, what are the details of the coordinated entry assessment vulnerability score?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I assume that there's a specific list.
absolutely,
details.
and,
How that score is calculated.
yeah, absolutely. So there are quite a few different things that go into that. I can actually bring with me the next time kind of an example of what some of those questions might be. They're worded in a very specific way, so I want to make sure that I gave you
Yeah.
the information with
Next
100%
time.
accuracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, because I can kind of give you, like I said, a bird's eye view of it right now, but I want to be able to make sure that that I get the verbiage exactly right, so that it doesn't get confusing anywhere along the lines. But a lot of what it's gonna be kind of just like a briefing. It's going to be about a person's history with homelessness, how long have they been homeless, and then what kind of experience have they had that has led them to the homelessness, or even what kind of experience they have had while being homeless. So, have you had any violent interactions? Have you had any interactions with law enforcement? How often have you been hospitalized? Is hospitalization something that is, a relatively regular thing for you? You know, some people are in and out of the hospital on a pretty regular basis, so that is on the assessment. And then it also has other things for what we consider like a vulnerability index. So, you know, do you have a history with domestic violence? Do you have a history with, any kind of, background is such as, have you ever, served, do you have any felonies? Do you have any misdemeanors? Do you have any evictions? Anything like that. So all of that kind of goes together, but I would love to get you some more specific information about that too. But that's kind of a bird's eye view of what it has. So if you'll give me until next month, I'll bring you more detailed information next month, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
The other thing is, how do we know when housing becomes available in the different, for instance, public housing? You know.
Great
Is
question.
that something only, you know,
Great question.
like June
Yes.
privy to? It used to be, things posted, in the paper like.
Yes.
When waiting lists or
Yes.
openings are,
Yeah. A lot of it now is social media.
It is.
We get a lot of our information from social media. We put a lot of our information out on social media. I think that a really great thing to do though is once we start hearing about those things on social media, maybe talking about them in a setting like this, so that we can also let people know who don't use social media that much. Because even though social media is definitely becoming more popular, it's not something that everybody loves. So if we can get word out in situations like that for whenever housing becomes more available, I would love to get that word out to the community. Because social media is just one tool that we have, and I think that this would be a great platform to be able to discuss things like that. So are we privy to the information? The answer is again, yes and no. We I have a lot of yes and answers. So yes, we do try to work closely with, the different types of like the housing authority. However, we do not have a direct partnership with them. So whenever we get information, we are actively trying to get people into the housing units that are available and also try to get the word out into the community. But it's not like we have a direct relationship with, the housing authority. So like, the CoC/CE coordinated entry / the housing authority, it's not all the same thing, unfortunately. So we do more toward the rapid rehousing and the permanent supportive housing, which is on that one pager. That is what we are the most closely tied to. So again, it doesn't mean that we don't ever get information about different things opening up. We do, and we try to keep everybody as up to date on it as possible. But it's definitely one of those areas that we would love a little bit more action in that area. Like we would love to see that word getting out a little bit more, and we would love to get information from the housing authority. And
We do. I want to be careful. We have the housing authority on our board for the CoC.
Yes,
There are like 2 seats. We get information, those wait lists though, as soon as they open, they may close. So
Yes.
that's where it's constantly going. We're just not, what is the word? We don't oversee the housing
Right.
authority.
So we
Right.
don't make those referrals directly, is
Exactly.
what it boils down to. It's so even though we have like that relationship with them, coordinated entry makes the referrals for rapid rehousing and permanent supportive housing. And that's where it does start to get very confusing. And that's my yes and no answers. So again, I think we can do a better job of getting it out into the community, but like Sherry said, sometimes that stuff opens and closes extremely quickly, as everyone knows. So but definitely going forward, I will do my very best to keep this as a platform that whenever we hear about something, we don't just talk about it on social media, we talk about it in here in the room too, so that you could get all the information out into the community. Okay? Any other questions right off the bat? All very good questions. Yes.
I have paperwork at home that says it's illegal for a landlord to request 3 times, that your income has to be 3 times the rent. Now, I have paperwork that says that's against the law. That's against the law to say, let's say they want 1,500 for rent, that you're supposed to make 3 times the 1,500 before you qualify. I have paperwork at home that says that's illegal, that they can't do that.
Out of curiosity, do you know what that paperwork is that you have?
I have to look.
Okay. Yeah, I would be really curious to hear what it is. I am not aware of that. I don't know if Sherry or Nita, if anybody else is aware
It's
of it.
against the law.
I think it would be if they were part of a government program for Section 8 or something like that perhaps, but if you own a house and I want to rent it to Sherry for $4,000 a month,
Exactly.
I can do that. She doesn't have to rent it.
Right. And there's
You
a
know,
lot of people wanting it, so they
Yeah.
can ask all kinds of crazy things and get it because.
And I think it's illegal for them to even promote it or put it on paper or try to
Yeah.
intimidate people.
The only way I think, and I don't know this for a fact, but the only way I think that was if they were part of a program. Let me give him one of the mics.
Gary, I can't, I'm not a lawyer. I can tell you, I am a renter and my rental company does require you make at least 3 times.
I know, but I
The
think
amount
it's
of rent.
illegal. I have
But
papers
yes,
here that says it's illegal for them.
I know, and so we don't have a lawyer in here to answer the question. I just want to say that I want to make sure that we get accurate information out.
I see that a lot. Like I said, I got 20 homeless people living across the street with me, you know, and sometimes I'm able to help them get housing, but I've seen that a lot and I have the paperwork at home. That says it's illegal for them to suggest it, say it, threaten you with it.
I'm assuming people that are renting to people that would be going through this agency aren't doing that. And anybody who isn't, that we don't have any right to even have an opinion on it, really.
Guess who I saw? I was at Culver's.
I have something to add, to all of what we're talking about, housing.
Somebody got a mic for her?
There are people that are seniors and
today. I've been
So-
inside.
there are people that are senior citizens. You know, what is it now, 55 and up? Throughout all of Pinellas counties, there's different areas called Pinellas, community, what's that place called? Pinellas Community Services. And it's for senior citizens. Okay, so there are a lot of senior citizens that are homeless. There's more young than senior citizens, but there are, you know what I'm talking about, there are that. So that is, you know, that's doing a broader outreach with the senior citizens. They can walk into any building like that and get paperwork, get some kind of help, referrals and help to get, they will try their best to get them help that day if they really want the help. I know one place that I actually did the doctor from. I see people in there all the time when I'm there to go see my doctor. They have a kitchen in there. So I saw somebody come in once. They went in the kitchen, got that person something to drink and something to eat because I thought they were gonna pass out. And then they directed them how they can get help and they were very grateful. So that's just one example. And I'm pretty sure there might be more because this list, I'm looking at it, doesn't look like it's a lot, but Metropolitan Ministries is a lot, because it stretches to Tampa to here. I actually was on the phone with somebody from Metropolitan Ministries today. So that is a big community. But I'm like Gary, try to make phone calls, try to stop and, you know, just talk and try to find out as much as you can.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Right, does anyone else have any questions before I pass the mic off for the maybe final time today, back to Sherry?
We like to.
I didn't make the agenda. I just want to say that didn't happen. This is just a coincidence. I like to just be kind of, you know, I'm going to give one update. But you all know, well, you should, if you haven't heard by now, the CoC is working on an annual CoC plan. And this,
Yes.
the CoC strategic plan, we are planning to have actually to go for the next 2 years. And we've received all year long, we had the pit report, we have all the pit count, and you got to see that, yes, there's a lot more senior citizens are becoming
Yes.
homeless, right?
Yeah.
And unsheltered.
Yeah.
And so we've noticed that. We've noticed that, you know, some people have been it's been getting better and the numbers have been going down. In other places, they've been going up, right? In some places, it's just flat. So, your citizens are being homeless, right?
Yeah.
And unsheltered.
Yeah.
And so we've noticed that. We've noticed that, some people it's been getting better and the numbers have been going down. In other places, they've been going up, right? In some places, it's just flat. So, really, it helps to have a plan to keep us focused on what we need. And so we've taken that information, we've looked at, you've all heard about HMIS, the Homeless Management Information System. We have data from there. We have data back from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the federal government, right? We also had membership meetings where members during a general membership meeting shared some of the gaps in services and relationships that we have within the county across the CoC that we need to work on, like such as with faith-based organizations and peer support, things of that nature. We also have that NOVO that we have talked about every single month lately, right? And I don't have an update on that, so that's good. What I do have to say though is that we know that when the next one comes out, there are certain things that we know we'll need to be prepared for and meet. And so that includes having more street outreach. That includes having good, and Pinellas is actually really good around this. There are some COCs that do not have law enforcement at all on their board and they don't really work with them. We do have strong relationships with law enforcement. We do have Lieutenant Haish and the sheriff are on the board for the COCs. And so, and of course, they work together on the task force and all of that. You all made a pamphlet in the last year on interactions with law enforcement that was blessed by. Okay, so that's something else that we know that the federal government is looking for when it's giving us funds. They also want to see performance. They want to see people find permanent solutions and not return to homelessness afterwards, right? So what we're doing today, very quick, this will not take very long. It's very simple. In front of you, it's a hard question, whatever. It may take, it's going to be more difficult to answer than for me to ask. But in front of you on your paper, and if you have there are pencils as well, feel free, think about, brainstorm a few things, maybe 3 things that you think, if you were like to look at the whole system, not just you personally, although that's important too, but what 3 things do you think we need in Pinellas to really, that would change the lives for the better for people who are unhoused right now? And so if you would write those down, just think to yourself about it for a moment, and then we'll have everybody talk.
Gonna know Maslow's theory of hierarchy.
Okay, and then now if we could just make sure that everybody has a mic, or whoever raises their hand. Tell us what you got.
My brain's overboard, but I was thinking, even with what we have in this room, okay, so I do know what you all are doing and how you guys are doing it. But what if you had like the little people or different ones that have access to do like, I call them a runner, to where you can go from place to place to place and check on things, if you're able to do that. That's just an idea. There are maybe some days that I could possibly be able to do that. But I don't know how overbroad or viewed that would go with other people. But that, because the more information, the better. And you're doing everything you can. You're going internet, phone calls, and you're going to see people. But the more people that actually get out there and do it, the better off we're gonna be. And the more information that we're gonna get. I just really do believe that. I just think it takes more people to actually do that. Like we can, like, I don't mind somebody calling me, hey, Char, can you meet us up here? Because we want to go here as a group maybe. And I'm willing to do that. And so is Jack. He's been homeless behind a motel and slept on the ground. So we know that we're not stupid. We've been there. And yeah, but all you have to do is make a phone call. I'm willing. And at any time, you say, hey, you come and meet me here. I want you to see what, there's several things we're gonna have to do. If you want to go here, fine. You understand what I'm talking about?
Well, a little bit more clarification. Is this to like have more tours of places
No,
that are
no,
providing services?
that's directly talking to people. I'm talking about talking to people that could make a difference for the homeless. I mean,
So policymakers?
very possible, yeah. That
Okay,
would be
because we, yeah, that's, yeah, but we have an advocacy committee, so increase
Okay.
advocacy efforts.
okay.
Is that,
Yeah.
okay? One second. Does anybody else? I want to make sure everybody has a chance and then we can always come back to you.
I have one. And I know that you're doing the best you can, but more, emergency shelters for
Yes,
people until they get something. Because a lot, especially elderly people, they're not gonna go to what's available because they're, they're scared. And also, which I know Megan, you're working on, is more basic step-by-step instructions to get somebody through the gauntlet that they're gonna go through to get on something like that.
Thank you. Yeah. And just to be clear, the HLA, we don't run the services in this county, neither does the COC. Okay, so what we're talking about is the COC. And so there's no need to be, like, you're not gonna hurt our feelings because we're not the one. These are
But
things
it's a
that we can,
maybe
that we can
stop that
help.
somehow. You know,
Yeah,
it's a quagmire that causes people to give up or,
Exactly, so-
end up in a dangerous situation.
So when we're talking about what kind of funding we want to look at moving forward, when we get state funds,
So,
increasing capacity for emergency shelters and focusing on elderly,
yeah,
that is something we can put in our policies and we can say, okay, this is what has been decided. We're going to focus more money that we do receive that way.
somebody that is just homeless, it's gonna be 6 months before we get this and that. Until then, good luck. There's, some kind of step-by-step for them to get there and somewhere for them to be until then.
Can I make one other thing? I wanted to know if anybody in this room has ever met Reverend Lionel at Haven of Rest in St. Pete. Have you ever met him? He's in his 80s now. Now, that place, since the hurricane, they are not open right now. They're trying to be open. They actually help homeless people. They used to have a food pantry. They can't have anything now. They have like a $20,000 in plumbing that FEMA never did help them with. And they did, because the community helped them with electric, but that's about it. They have to have money. Before they can.
Beyond all of our control of this thing.
Right, but they have a
Talk about
Facebook
it.
page for donations to just keeping the electrical up. And I know personally that place would help anybody. They will feed them. There is a place there where they can get them off streets. But see, what I'm talking about is like, there might be other places besides that place, Haven of Rest, Oh, yeah, we just, I don't even know enough yet, but we do need more emergency places for a fact, we do, because there is just not enough.
Check the cost, to start something like that with the
It's
insurance
not-
and liability issues,
Yeah.
what keeps it
I
happening.
think maybe we could get some of our county commissioners to help some of the zoning issues to allow us to open this stuff up.
County commissioners is good.
One person in particular, I'll leave my name, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, can help us with zoning
Yeah,
and permits, to
Yeah.
allow places to
Exactly.
open, help people. You know, they just need to lack a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I understand nobody wants it in their backyard, but there's gotta be something to break somewhere. There's too many homeless people out here for,
Oh, my God.
you know, to say, you know?
We are the hidden.
Anything else? In the last minute?
Anyone?
Was that like emergency shelters and open up zoning so we could have more resources and get, rely on permits? And more advocacy to policymakers and more people bringing in more information. Does that sound good?
I like to see people bring more information and take information that they learn here out there where they need it. I mean, this is not like a big classroom. We're gonna give you all the information you need. Go out there and advocate for somebody. Oh, you know where to find this? Oh, yeah, I do. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That's my greatest hope. That's what
They
I'm
don't write it down and don't remember it, and then they ask you again next time they see it, and it gets
You
old.
know, if they ask again, tell them again. What are you gonna do?
Give them a yellow book and say, that's the deal.
You know? What are you gonna do?
Not to be frustrated,
No,
but it's frustrating.
I didn't know about this, but this is like the best thing.
Yeah, Gary's been working on it.
And I
That's
actually was
That's
looking it
the
up.
priority.
Who funded that? I
You ready for
said,
resource update?
I said, that is fantastic.
All right.
Finally.
All right, everybody.
Yeah, that is
I
wonderful.
briefly spoke about, resources, showers. Getting people showers. Guess what? That day is here. We have a company called Shower Up. They have a main, they've already have an active location downtown St. Pete, down by the Unitarian Church. Every Wednesday morning they have showers. I'm going to get it set up here on 49th Street, 90th Avenue. They can do 25 to 30 people a day.
That's awesome.
I have
No,
pictures.
because everybody does it on Wednesday. If somebody
No,
does it on
they're-
Monday,
no,
somebody else
they're
does it on
gonna
Friday, that would be way better.
Thursday or Friday, we're gonna have to do it up there
Okay, excellent. That's
and split it up.
Great.
great. Thank you.
There you go. Shows a picture of the inside,
So great.
shows what the stalls look like. Very nicely done.
About the possibility of getting,
The whole idea is we can get people
like,
in there.
deals
What's
on
the-
gym.
They actually have, do and all that for
Yeah.
people, which I found that on.
I got membership, I think Sharon Day, because I can't go that one, especially in summer.
They also have, unfortunately, I don't have it with me at Lindsay can't find it this second. A picture, they have a trailer they pull
Yeah.
that is a mobile, laundromat.
Right.
Washer, dryer, people that will fold the clothes. Basically, and the one downtown St. Pete, which is down, the first, United Methodist downtown, they're gonna open up one in Largo and one in Clearwater. And as well as, I'm gonna get them stationed up here at 49th Street. So every single week, I mean, we should, you know, should alleviate that. This has been a 4 or 5 month ongoing project, and I'm very happy to say it's here finally.
That's been done here.
That is great. That makes me really happy to hear that. Because
Especially
remember,
in summer.
at Trinity,
Right,
when they used to get showers, they would be like,
I've already spoke to the people in Trinity about maybe getting these people there.
that's wonderful, because that was the awful when I wasn't happy.
Right, yeah.
I'm
Maybe
still
people
not
just
happy
use
with
the
them.
equipment.
I know, I'm still not.
And the biggest thing is to, get them showered, they'll help with, with their health, it'll make them feel better, get their self-esteem up,
Yeah.
you know? And everything else will follow.
Exactly.
You really do.
Yeah, everything else will follow. I mean, who doesn't want a nice, hot 20-minute, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know?
How much more of a chance do you have of getting a job walking into somewhere when you know you're fresh looking, young?
Yeah.
You come in there smelling and
I'm also,
out of confidence, just tell yourself.
I'm also talking to a couple people in the city about storage.
Excellent.
Right? Like a location where you have large lockers, somebody, let's say Gary's going to the doctor. Or he's going to an important job interview, he can't show up there with a backpack, a big roll, back 2 or 3 bags and stuff, and show up at a job. He can go there, check it in, show his ID, and within 48 hours, he has to come pick it up. But he can go do his interview, go to his doctor, go to his dentist, do what he's got to do, and his stuff is safe. He doesn't have to stash it somewhere. Yeah, that would be huge. You give somebody a chance to go out and get the, you know, I don't have that information yet, but it's work in progress. But Shower Up is here. It's something, if you felt like you wanted to get involved, I'm quite sure we could get you set up as a volunteer. You can look them up on showerup.org. And they're in 10 major metropolitan cities, and they're a nonprofit, and that's all they do. They go around, give people showers, laundry services. Sometimes they have clothing, sometimes they have other stuff that's attached with it. But the core of the nonprofit is showers.
You should maybe tell them into, hey, if you charge $10 a shower, it'd be around every day, you'd probably make money.
I probably would.
Is there
But the whole point is, it's not such a big problem. And that's also gonna alleviate some of the complaints that we've had up the 49th Street shower, and I'll leave that unnamed.
Yeah.
These people can, they're not just talking 10 a day, we're talking 20, 25, all right? My only problem with setting up at that church right now is I have to figure out on the average, how many people are gonna shower so we can figure out what the water bill will be. As soon as we figure that out, boom, it's there. And that'll be every week. It'll probably
You're gonna
be,
responsible for the bill once you figure out how much it's gonna be.
well, the church, yeah. Church has to figure out how much water that's gonna use.
Yeah, obviously, it's not free. Yeah.
So, you know, they have to put that within budget, and then what we do is compare that to the one shower.
Right.
So is there gonna be?
You know,
any-
and go that route. But feel free to tell anybody about Shower Up. As I said, hopefully, I've already talked to people at Trinity, maybe about getting them started there.
Maybe.
Even one of the things about Trinity was they didn't have a place to connect the drain to a washout.
I know.
Well, guess what?
We know.
That trailer's built with a storage tank in the bottom of it. All the dirty water goes in the tank, they drive it off the property, and they can take it somewhere and dump the tank.
Right.
Alleviates the problem of not being able to go there because they got no way to get rid of the wastewater. There's a lot of places.
That should be discussed in this situation too, is that people who can't act right should have some kind of recourse. You know, I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, maybe, I mean, not just, oh, you can't come back, but maybe you do 30 days. You know what I mean? Something, I mean, I know we ain't got much control over that, but I think we should, and it's something that should be discussed by people who've got power.
I plan to volunteer downtown unit. That would be a question I will put to the PDO there.
Quit shitting where you sleep and wonder.
How do you mean, with a discipline? Are you suspended for so much time, or?
There's a lot of people out there willing to help. They get tired of going through this with like people who act like spoiled.
Well,
and it ruins it for everyone.
Yeah, well, see, if you look at the picture of the trailer.
Yeah.
4 doors,
Awesome.
no waiting, boom. 4 doors, get you in, get you out, and if you look at the interior, that is nice.
Yeah.
Is,
That is nice. I've seen that in some high-end apartments. That looks nice. So, I think it's a real good asset for the community. It's gonna help. Feel free to pass the information out if you want some of the information I've got printed out here. I'll be more than happy to, give it to you. Okay? Yes, sir.
Not quite. All right. There you go. I want to make sure when it comes to the following meetings and for people. Second, I want to make sure we leave on a positive note. So if anybody has any, good news stories they want to share, it'd be small or large, it doesn't matter. Because it's a rainy day, you want to go out, get bad news, and all of a sudden you got downpour. That doesn't work.
You made me some do
So we need-
Yeah.
We need positive news.
I mean.
So does anybody have anything?
Where did you say Cat was? Where's Cat?
Yeah, resources.
The library, the memorial service,
That's done.
that was done, was that shared?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Later.
I'll have them have these out.
Is that all about Leo?
What was that?
Yes, I know, yes, there's a memorial service.
Do you have one of these, Mary?
The land.
Why, no, but you might want the thing printed out. I figured you had something to do with it.
She can get it.
See, this happened a couple Mondays, 14th. Here at this library. So, if you could attend,
What is it?
it is gonna be noon to 1:30, so. Saturday here, noon to 1:30.
It's a cake party? What are we talking about?
So that's positive news, because it'd be nice that have people turn out for them.
What was the meeting for?
Because being remembered is one of the key things in life, so it would helpful for all of them beforehand. If you all come back and remember myself, I said the end, I'm working, but otherwise, yeah, I would.
Oh, man, I miss Leo. I do, know what you're talking about, when I was told that, so that's really sad.
Oh, positive news.
I gotta make you bike. 10 minutes ago, I was gonna be out there and yell at me, get it, but I got it. No, bro.
Getting someplace is important, getting someplace online is better.
Thank you.
That is definitely good news. Myself, came back from a job, just temporary job in Texas, I forget out about. A little pain. Of course, I got paid for it too.
There you go.
It's good news. If you take advantage of opportunities that are available to you, and I have enough time off before I can do it, so I did it.
Sitting right there.
It brings me to the point you gotta remember, to do things,
Oh, okay.
help advance
That's
yourself.
with the shower.
It pulls behind the big one.
Michael has the floor. Michael has the floor. Point of order, hello.
Want to make sure.
Sorry.
Ripping it out of her hand, just like that, come on. Be nice about it. Forever. Anyway. Well, what I did was something that I took advantage of, so. You gotta remember, take advantage of the resources that are here that's available to help out. And there's a lot of them, you look on that list, COC. And the resources link, there's a lot of help out there, I might actually take advantage of the legal help soon. Oh,